You probably clicked on this video because you're an introvert or you have this big fear of sales. It's this big scary thing that you feel like you cannot get over. And it probably stems from watching films like Wolf of Wall Street, where you think you need to be this arrogant, extroverted person to make millions and actually generate money through sales calls. But I can tell you now that is simply not true. There's quite a few introverts that are actually very, very good at sales. People like Charlie Morgan is a great example of that, where naturally he's introverted, but he's taught himself to be extroverted during sales calls. And I'm the same. I'm naturally very introverted, and I've generated over 6 figures for my agency through taking sales calls. And this was starting from me, where my first sales call, I did not have a clue. It went awful. But I learned 3 steps from people like Charlie Morgan and Will Brown of how to actually become good at sales as an introvert. And that's what I'm going to show you today with this video. And by the end, you'll be confident going on to sales calls, and I guarantee that you'll start generating thousands and potentially millions in the future using these methods. So the first step is focusing on diagnosing like a doctor. And what I mean by that is people have come on these sales calls with you because they have a problem and they think that you can solve that problem. Very similar to if I went to the doctor and I had an issue, I'm going to them because I think they can solve that issue. And it's the exact same with sales calls. And when you go to a doctor, they don't start pitching to you, they don't start trying to prescribe you, they start asking you questions. Okay, where is the pain? Why is it painful? What happened to create this pain? Okay, what is the dream outcome? How do you want me to solve this? If you've got a bad knee, what is the ideal situation from this? So they ask questions to understand your pain, what you're going through, how it is caused, and how it is impacting you. And it's very similar on sales. The first 20 to 30 minutes of a call, you should just be asking questions. What is the problem with their business? Why are they even on this call? Like, do they have issues generating sales? Are they not generating views through social media? Are they generating loads of views but it's not converting? Paying staff, so they need some AI automation. Like, figure out what their actual problem is. And this will depend based on the industry and what sort of service you're providing. But you want to ask questions to figure out their current situation and also put them in pain, because they're thinking about the pain that they're in. That is the reason they're on the call. And then you want to start asking questions about their dream outcome. Okay, so you're not generating any sales through social media, and that's painful for you because that used to be your main system to generating sales. So what is the dream outcome? Okay, the dream outcome is someone does it for us, we're generating loads of views and loads of sales, and I don't have to spend any of my time in it because I don't like social media. That might be their answer. And what you've now done is split off between their current situation and their dream situation. And what this does is create a gap, because now they know it could be different. In their mind, they've talked themselves into it that, okay, I'm in this pain and I know I could be in a different situation. And then you ask them, okay, what's stopping you from getting there by yourself? And they might say, I don't have the time, I don't have the expertise, I don't have the money. Whatever that is, they're admitting that they can't get to that dream outcome themselves. And then what you do is prescribe. This is where you start your pitch, because now you know where the actual pain is, so you can kind of use the answers against them. Oh, so you say you're not getting views, you're not converting that into sales either, and you've said that you can't do it yourself because you don't have the expertise. Well, is that something you'd be interested in if I could help you? If I show that I've got the expertise to help you? And they're like, yeah. And then you can pitch yourself. Instead of like amateur salespeople, straight away go into the call and start pitching their service. We're so great that we can do this for you. Whereas actually, you need to be specific to their situation and their pain points. And by doing this, it also relieves the pressure off you, because you're actually helping them. You're understanding what their problem is, and you're not just trying to make money. In the long term, obviously you are, but it comes across very genuine because you're asking a lot of questions. How often in life do people just sit there, ask you questions and listen? So that's what you should do. Ask a question, listen, say okay, and then ask the next question. And step 2 for someone that is very introverted, I'd always feel that, oh, I'm going to run out of stuff to ask people. What if I freeze up and I don't know what to ask? And you might be thinking, okay, diagnose like a doctor, but how do I know what questions to ask them? And that is is why I have a sales script. And I actually have a sales script in my description, which is completely free that you can use on your sales calls. It's the exact one that I use for generating over 6 figures for my agency. And what this does is it has sections to put them in that current situation pain point, to ask them questions about their dream outcome, to get them to admit that they can't bridge the gap themselves. And obviously you can adapt it for your industry, but the structure you want to keep the same. And you can even write in your pitch, you can even write in at the bottom, the more sales calls you have, you can write in the questions that people are asking, the objections. And what it does as an introvert is really help because it put my mind at ease. I'd have the Zoom call on one side of my screen, I'd have my sales script on the other. Listen to that answer, I'd say okay, and then I'd ask the next question. And if I didn't understand something or thought they weren't giving me the full answer, I'd ask them to delve a little deeper or ask another question that will reveal a bit more. But essentially, I always had that safety net of having a sales script next to me, which was so helpful. And what it actually did was increased my sales conversion rate so much as well, because I wasn't just going in with no structure whatsoever, and it makes it look a lot more professional that you're asking a lot of questions. And the first 20-30 minutes is just about them and then understanding how you can actually help and whether you actually can help them. And I know sales could be this big scary thing, so that's why having a sales script is so important, and it's what I give everyone within my mentorship, the sales script as well. And that's why they're closing so many deals now, because none of them have sales experience, or one of them had sales experience, but now they're all becoming very good at sales because they've got this structure. And I do have this mentorship and community where we guarantee that you hit 3 to 8K a month within 90 days and you become a digital nomad through an agency. And that's an absolute guarantee. So if you're interested in just a free strategy call and a free roadmap call, there's a link in the description where you can book in a call. But yeah, number 3 is repetition. The first call is naturally going to be scary as an introvert, but I promise you it gets easier and easier. And people, like, you've got so many questions in your head, or what if they ask me this, what if they ask me that? Well, first off, think of all the questions they could ask you and think of an answer for it, and even write it on your sales script. And what you need to do is, with the repetition, the more calls you have, you want to record every single call. You can use a program like Fathom. This is not sponsored, but what it does, it records the video and also transcribes it. And then what you can do from there is, after every call, you can look at what people are saying, how they're responding to your questions. Are certain questions getting better answers than others, or revealing more than others? What questions are they asking you after the pitch? What objections are people having? What are the reasons for them not buying yet? And what you can do is go through and build this bank of every time you have a sales call, write all of the questions that they're asking, write all of the objections, and under them, you can type out what is a perfect answer you could do. Because in the moment, obviously you're reacting at the start. You're reacting to, okay, they've just asked me this, how can I respond to it? Whereas once you've been asked it a few times, you know how to answer because you've got that perfect answer in your sales script. You've handled it multiple times. And the key to answering a question is you go, okay, well, you don't go, okay, you say, great question, I'm glad you asked, and then you explain the answer. And then what you want to do is always spin it back to a positive. You want to spin it positive and link it to the dream result. So let's say you're doing social media management and you say that you can get them an extra 10,000 in sales per month. So you can say, okay, well, how many videos are you going to post per week? So we're going to post 5 videos per week and stories every single day. And what this does, it helps us generate enough views and also conversions to get that 10,000 extra per month. And that is why it's best to work with us, because we have this system in place that's worked for so many clients that we know we can get that extra 10,000. So you want to, even if it's a negative question, you want to link it back to a positive and link it back to the result. So every single time you're positive reinforcing them that you're going to get this result and you should work with us because of it. But the repetition, things get easier and easier, and if you're working in the same industry and the same service, you're going to get very similar questions and very similar objections, and calls become very similar. So that's why repetition helps so much, but only if you track it. But yeah, that is how to do sales as an introvert. And as I said, if you're interested in joining my mentorship with the guarantee and becoming a digital nomad and traveling the world like me, there's a link in the description where you can book in a completely free call, no sales pressure, just to understand whether you'd be a good fit and also what stage you're at. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.